Andrea Miller from the Center for Common Ground for Effective Advocate. Why don't we get started by just introducing ourselves in the chat to one another? Let us know where you're zooming in from. Let's see. Who's going to go first? Somebody be bold. Let us know where you're zooming in from. Ruth or Glenn? Yay, Andrea. All right, here we go. Portland, Silver Spring, Toronto, wonderful. Orlando, Indiana, New York City, New Jersey, San
Cambridge.
Jose. Look at this. How
Yeah.
beautiful. It's
Whoa.
great to see you all. Hi, Diana from San Francisco. Wonderful Costa Mesa, Yellow Springs, Ohio. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Uh, Glen Burnie, that's a place I haven't heard about in a while. Boy, all
Wow.
right.
Hello, Lynn from Hawaii. So glad you're here. Look at this.
Look
And
at
Susan,
Texas is here.
hooray,
All
hooray.
right, I got some news for Texas. Hawaii is here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Welcome, Tennessee.
And Seattle. How nice to see Seattle. Norfolk, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Oh, Bordentown is here. Hooray. I grew up in Trenton, so not far from you. All right. Marvelous. Well, we have quite a program tonight. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about the Calais decision. And tonight we're going to focus on how we fight back against this because, there's a lot of analysis paralysis going on, and paralysis is not the name of the game when it comes to Center for Common Ground and Workers Circle. So I think you're here at Effective Advocate because you agree with that. After all, why would we call it Effective Advocate if we weren't going to be effective in our advocacy? And we're going to do an overview of that, but most importantly, we're going to double down on some ways that you can really take action. Andrea, what else is new tonight?
Well, I discovered that, what is really new? I'm very excited about our work. And so I'm building the wind plan for Georgia. I built it for North Carolina, and I will be building it for Texas.
Woo!
So making a lot of plans, discovering a lot of political malpractice at a scale so great it almost makes me dizzy.
Mm.
But that means we've got a lot of opportunities. So we are going to be working on that. And then I also have my statement about um, are they giving us a gift as they crack these black districts?
Mm.
Because suddenly now very safe Republican districts are going to get a nice collection of Democrats in them. And I'm going, is that really such a bad thing? Am I going to be able to trade three districts for one?
Well, we will soon find out, but the name of the game is certainly going to be voter mobilization. There's no doubt about it. But as everybody's coming in case you are not familiar with the Workers Circle, we're a social justice organization founded by Jewish immigrants who fled pogroms and persecutions at the turn of the 20th century and came here to the United States seeking democratic freedoms and wanting to build a better and more beautiful world for all. You don't have to be Jewish to be part of the Workers Circle. We prize our history and we prize solidarity, which is one of the reasons we love working with the Center for Common Ground. We got to know Andrea and the Center for Common Ground back in 2020, and it was like, I don't know, match made in heaven. So many of the ways that our two organizations work. In other words, to build durable, people centered, grassroots infrastructure across the United States for multiracial democracy. That's what it's all about. And so when we encountered the Center for Common Ground through a friend of mine, Professor Rodney Sadler introduced me to Andrea, and Andrea started talking. I'll never forget because I felt in my heart the possibility of what all of us could do together. Isn't that something that Andrea does? She just inspires. So I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Andrea, I'm going to turn it to you to say hi, and we should probably get going.
Hi, everybody. And I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. And Noel, I want to remind you that our dear Reverend Sadler will be elected to the North Carolina House in November. He won his primary and he doesn't have anybody running against him. So I guess that means he's going to win. I mean,
Wow.
won't that be cool? Well, he won his primary with 70% of the vote. So I think any challengers that he might have had, he kind of just scared them away. So anyway, I want to say our Laramie, Wyoming is here. And I am like, wow, Wyoming, thank you very much. But I think tonight's winner for longest distance is we've got someone who normally lives in Maryland, but right now they are zooming in from Lima, Peru. I think that is our winner. I
I
really,
love it.
really, really, really do.
I love it.
So, all right, we've got 101 people here. I apologize for the confusion with the Zoom link. The next time we do one of these, I will make sure that it is the correct Zoom link. So, 102 of you made it in the room, so yay. Otherwise, we are recording, and everyone who signed up, all 472 of you, will get the recording, and you will also get the presentation slides. So, John, next slide. What are we going to be talking about tonight? Well, we're going to do a quick little adjustment before I get into my stuff about Calais. We are going to have an update from Noel about Alligator Alcatraz. We've got some very exciting news, and I know we have talked about it. And we talked about the actions that people can take. So I want you to get the update. Yes, Jasmine Clark in Georgia 13. So yes. Anyway, tonight, in addition to that, we are going to be talking about fighting back against Calais. Enough of this hand wringing and whining and oh, woe is me. Black voters in the South are, all right, cover your ears and don't clutch your pearls, are pissed at what the state legislatures are starting and doing and trying to do. So we will be working to mobilize and channel that anger into something positive, like winning elections and taking back seats. So, as I said, this is a battle cry. Now, what are we doing? Well, redistricting occurs in the state house. It does not occur in Congress. So we will be working to win the state houses in North Carolina, Georgia, and the Texas Senate. We will be talking about actions that you can take. Next slide, John. We will also be giving some updates on actions you have taken because the work circle worked on the Georgia primary. There is now a runoff, so there will be more opportunities for phone banking. We'll be going through that. Postcards will be released. The address is starting on June the 5th. So we're going to want to talk about that. And then We have a piece of legislation where there is a huge opportunity for us to work on building co-sponsors, the Voter Empowerment Act. That is another piece of legislation that John Lewis originally introduced back in 2012. So while the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act basically is designed to fight and protect against redistricting, this bill was designed to basically protect voters and establish a level playing field in all 50 states, saying, you know what, all 50 states, Mississippi, Alabama, this means you are going to have early voting. So we'll be talking about that, and also our Action Network letter campaign and a Hill visit in DC, going to visit members of Congress. And I would love it if some people might want to um, hop on down to their in district congressional office, and maybe for the first time, you just print the letter, sign it, and give it to them. Don't slip it under the door. I want you to walk into the office and hand it to them. And then we'll look to, are you ready to sit and have a conversation with them? So, yes. All right. Now, next, well, Noel, next slide. Yay.
Yay. So, friends, you may have heard in the news that alligator Alcatraz is anticipated to close in the near term, sometime in June. In the chat, someone wrote, well, that's not much of a victory because after all, they'll just take the detainees and send them out elsewhere. So let me tell you something. First of all, it's a huge victory because we're also simultaneously putting public pressure that is helping detainees in their habeas processes get out. So Ariane Betancourt's father, Ariane is a community catalyst with the Workers Circle, and she's our primary liaison with families. Her father had been detained in for 6.5 months, 4.5 of which was in Alligator Alcatraz. He was released a week ago. And upon release, in very poor health, is in the hospital recovering from the denial of medical treatment at Alligator Alcatraz. For those of you who don't know what Alligator Alcatraz is, it is that cruelly nicknamed detention center that was built in 8 days in the heart of the Everglades on environmentally protected land. It's also the land of the Miccosukee tribe. And it's been the subject of a number of lawsuits around due process, around inhumane conditions, and around going around the environmental protection statutes that would have required a study to be done before this camp was erected. Notoriously, this center has also not shied away from the use of torture, including boxes such as were used in Guantanamo prison camp. And they have shackled people inside them and put them out in the hot Florida sun without food, without water, without any way to relieve themselves, 2 by 2 boxes where you can't really bend down. They have had lights on 24/7, stadium lights. These aren't little night lights, stadium lights on. There is ongoing harassment from serious pepper bombing of detainees to chokeholds to denial of medical care to maggots in the food. Much of this has been reported, but not all of it. And there's more that comes out daily. So the Workers Circle back last summer gathered a wide number of groups together to oppose this and to start holding vigils August the 3rd of 2025. We are now in our 43rd consecutive week outside the gates of Alligator Alcatraz, and we built relationships with families of those who have been detained, and in fact, relationships with people who are detained. The family members and people who are detained call out to our vigils. We get them on record, we get them to the press. All of this public pressure has brought over 5,000 people now to the gates of that detention center. It's initiated congressional testimony and an investigation by Senators Dick Durbin and Senator Ossoff, as well as a visit from Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz and a bill in Congress that would call for investigation and prosecution for the harms done at Alligator Alcatraz. But we're not done because we know that right now there are many people that are inside Alligator Alcatraz who do not have any lawyer to represent them. Because unlike the criminal justice system, where you might know from the movies that if you cannot afford an attorney, the court will appoint one to you, right? We all know that from like all the crime dramas on TV. That is not the case for immigration detention because it was never meant to be detention without end the way that it is with the Trump administration. Most people are given a summons to appear at ICE court. They're never detained, right? So this is a new form of mass violation of due process. So one of the things that the Workers' Circle has been working on with family members and with attorneys is how to help those people that are still inside Alligator Alcatraz. And we're going to have more news in the coming days. But one thing I can tell you, we are not going to rest until we shut down not only Alligator Alcatraz, which is a blueprint for the new ICE warehouse systems and other state-run detention centers like Speedway Slammer and Cornhusker Clink, all these noxious names they give to them. But we're going to keep up until we end these vicious abductions, detentions, deportations, and even disappearances of our neighbors, family members, and friends. But right now, good news, and that is Alligator Alcatraz looks to be closing. If you'd like to learn more, you can go out to freedomvigils with an S.org. Rachel, can you drop that in the chat for me? Freedomvigils with an S.org. You can join us any Sunday from 4 to 5 down there on Route 41 across from the entrance to Alligator Alcatraz. I want to thank you to everybody who has spread the word, who has argued that this terrible detention center needs to close, for all your help sending messages to Congress, and for the fight that all of you have put up, I'm sure, against further funding for ICE and Border Patrol in the current debates around budget resolution. All of that matters for this. And so thank you, and there's more to come. This is not the war, but it is a very important battle. And when this jewel in the crown of the Trump deportation machine is taken down, we, the people, will have been the ones to do it.
The question in the chat, Noel, do you have an idea how many people are currently in Alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, that is one of the issues that is longstanding because not everybody in Alligator Alcatraz is in the ICE database. And we estimate they have begun releasing some stats. The most recent stats are saying 1,400, but those stats are about 4.5 weeks old. So some of those numbers will come down, then they go back up when people are transferred in and out. So approximately 1,400 people is the last count we had.
Thank you, Noel. And every time I hear about that, any detention center, it is all just so incredibly painful. Um, Literally because, yeah, just for so many reasons on so many levels. All right. Wow. Next slide, John. All right. Well, let's do something that will bring my blood pressure down a little bit, because that makes me want to say, well, we need to save them for a while, and then everybody that was putting them in there, let's throw them in there for a week, and then we'll just leave them there for a week, forget about them, and then we'll come back and let them out. So anyway, that's kind of my thought. Shouldn't have said it out loud. That was mean, but whatever. All right. So anyway, legislation. Um, John Lewis wrote a bill in 2012 that he called the Voter Empowerment Act. And you are going to recognize a lot of things that this act is seeking to do. Number one, it is working to modernize, was the word they used in 2012, voter registration. So it's as people will be able to register online, and that would be in all 50 states. There will be automatic voter registration so that if you have any interaction with the government as a citizen, they will automatically register you to vote. And again, when I read what this bill was designed to do in basically 2012, it's kind of wow. And they're really working to try to do the opposite of all this right now. Same day registration. I spelled individuals wrong, but you know what I mean. Individuals would be able to register and vote during early voting and on election day. So, a state like North Carolina, where they have registration during early voting, they would now add registration on election day as well, because we have so many voters who say, oh no, I won't go and early vote. My family and I, we vote on election day. Well, in North Carolina, if you show up on election day and it turns out you've been kicked off the rolls, then you're unfortunately not going to be able to have your vote counted if they let you vote at all. The other thing that it does is it limits the circumstances to remove voters from the voter rolls, and it prohibits voter caging. What's voter caging? Voter caging is when the Board of Elections sends a plain white postcard and they tell you, hey, you haven't voted, and we're going to dump you off the voting rolls unless you respond. And then if people don't respond because it looks like junk mail, you get dumped off the voter roll. And they also don't forward it so that in case you move and forgot to adjust your registration, that's one of the ways they get people. This would now be illegal. It prohibits interference with voter registration. And again, so many of these things which seem so logical and basic in 2012, we still need them because people are actively trying to interfere with people registering to vote. This would impact Virginia. When you register to vote in Virginia, Virginia requires your entire social security number. This would say states can only ask for the last four numbers. It also ensures in all 50 states that individuals with disabilities will be able to use vote by mail registration. And because this is a federal law, it would only impact federal elections, and they would be able to vote absentee in federal elections. Now, this is one that I really love. All institutions of our higher education would become voter registration agencies. I know a lot of groups go into colleges and run voter registration drives, mainly because that is not what the colleges do. Some colleges may require more kind of pushing forward to do this than others, but this would allow all colleges to be voter registration agencies. Next slide. Early voting. There are some states, Mississippi and Alabama, which do not have any early voting. This would say all states must have 15 days of early voting, at least 15. Virginia has 45. They wouldn't make us go back to 15, but 15 is the bottom. Now, the early voting must be no less than 10 hours a day, and there must be an early voting period before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. Now, um, Texas got really, really clever during the pandemic with drop boxes. They had to by law have drop boxes. So what they did was Governor Abbott said, all right, fine. There will be one drop box per county. So when you look at something like the city of Houston, or more than 800,000 voters, they had one drop box. So now there must be one drop box per 20,000 people. And if you are going to vote by mail, prepayment of postage to return your ballot. Meanwhile, we are warning people against vote by mail right now because the post office is in cahoots with the Trump administration, and we know they are going to screw with the vote by mail ballots and deliberately bring them in late. Also, this ends felony disenfranchisement for people who are no longer incarcerated. There are still three states, Virginia, Kentucky, and Iowa, that I know, Iowa, right? Yeah, well, that have lifetime felony disenfranchisement unless your rights are restored by the governor. This would basically end that. Um, but it would still say if you are imprisoned, you are not able to vote. So it's interesting. Would that have an impact on Vermont and New Hampshire, two states that allow people with felony convictions to vote from prison because this says you're not going to be allowed to? And paper ballots rather than the machines become the standard for voting. All right, next slide. Yeah, flip the script on Calais. This is the fun part. Alabama, Louisiana, and Tennessee have redistricted or in the process of redistricting for 2026. Georgia plans to redistrict in 2028. And what they are doing with this redistricting is these states all had at least one majority minority or a majority black district with Calais that says, oh no, you cannot draw district lines based on creating a racial majority minority district. You can't do that. States in the South are going, oh, let's break up our majority minority district so then we won't have a black district. Alabama now has two black districts. We won Congressional District 2 back in 2024. So what they are doing now is they're just redrawing the lines and redistributing voters. Um, Now, redistricting occurs at the state level. So, in order to redistrict, they must have the state Senate and the state House must vote by a majority that they are going to agree to redistrict, and the governor must agree to the redistricting. So, you basically need that trifecta to redistrict. So, if we were to win either state chamber in North Carolina, Georgia, or Texas, Georgia would not be able to redistrict in 2028. Texas, their redistricting is going to probably blow up and they're going to want to redistrict differently. And this will ensure that North Carolina can't redistrict. Now, North Carolina does have a Democratic governor, but they have a Republican legislature. Next slide. All right, this is what it looks like. Now, in North Carolina, currently the North Carolina House has 120 seats. There are 49 Democrats and 71 Republicans. And that's one that's in pretty good shape for this House. If we were to win 12 seats, that would make it 61-59. And again, if they lose control of either chamber, they will not be able to redistrict. Right now, here's the interesting thing. I went looking for 12 seats where can we flip those districts. I found 23 without even looking hard. Now, the North Carolina State Senate, it is currently 20 Dems, 30 Republicans. If we win 6 seats, that flips it 26-24. I've found 11 seats. The theory of change that we use here at Center for Common Ground, and it has served us well, that is one of the reasons Virginia looks the way that it does, is if we can find a district, congressional, state house, state senate, heck, the whole darn state, where it is at least 20%, well, it is 20% or more voters of color. That would be Black combined with Hispanic, combined with Asian American, combined with Native Americans, then we consider that district winnable. We found districts in North Carolina where the registered Black voters were 22%, 28%, 38%, 42%, and there was a white Republican sitting in that seat. It was like, well, I see where our target districts are. So we are going to go to work in 2026. While they are busy trying to steal Congress, we will simply take their state houses away from them, where they will then have to behave. All right, let's go look at the great state of Georgia. We are currently in the process of working on Georgia with the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus for doing the planning. Now, Georgia has 180 seats in their House. It is a big state House. They are 80 Democrats, 100 Republicans. Again, if we flip 12 seats, that would take them to 92-88, which would mean they wouldn't be able to redistrict for the 2028 election. There are 56 seats in the Georgia Senate. It's 21-35. We only need to win 7 seats, and that would tie it. Again, we only need one chamber. The other thing we discovered is there's at least one, if not two, congressional seats where, based on the population that lives there, if we can get them to vote, we should be able to flip Congressional District 12, which is in Savannah and Augusta, Georgia. Previously, back in 2010, 2012, that was a Democratic district. So we'll just take it back. Thank you very much. Now, next slide, and then I'm going to go into the cracking. When we look at Texas, Texas is down a lot of seats, and it would be we'd need to win more than 12 seats to be able to flip the Texas House. We only need 4 seats to flip the Texas Senate. So I'm in the process of looking at all the Senate seats, who lives there, what congressional district is it attached to, and then we're going to be looking at power packing. Now, what's power packing? Well, this is what we do in Virginia. So in Virginia, no one runs for office alone. So when we're doing our state races, um, like in 2027, there will be state Senate races and state House races. So we will say, rather than the state Senate runs his campaign in each individual House district under that state Senate district, they run their own campaign. To us, we run a single campaign that's got the state Senate and the state House district all in one. That's called a power pack. So instead of each individual candidate trying to make it on their own, we gather them together in a group and we run a pack. We had one power pack in Virginia, the Williamsburg Power Pack, where there was one incumbent. He won. He was very, very popular. He helped 2 first-time candidates win. And there was another candidate that had run once and lost. She won, and all 4 candidates won. So we believe in the power pack. It works. And it is a great way to get a 2 or a 3 or even a 4. I think that's the most we've ever gotten. So we'll be really exploring that concept in North Carolina because we are going in on Congressional District 3, which is the North Carolina Black Belt. Little history lesson. Every southern state has a black belt. That was the area of the state that had the richest land. That is where all the plantations were. And if the plantations were there, that is where all the slaves were. So in every southern state, you have a concentration, a fairly high one, of black voters in one area. In North Carolina, it's Congressional District 1. That is the northern side of the Black Belt. And Congressional District 3. That is the southern side. Well, when we look at Congressional District 3, we found there were 5 flippable House seats under that congressional district, and there were 5 flippable Senate seats. And we're going, we don't even have words for an 11. What kind of word is that? But that's what we're going to be looking at in North Carolina. It is a different way looking at elections, but it is looking at elections with a plan to win as many elections within that set as you can. Next slide. All right. So that's me. That's my part. Now it is time for Rachel.
Thank you, Andrea. And I am so thrilled to say that, okay, we started making calls to Georgia. I believe our first calling day was May 8th, and our last was this Monday, the 18th. We made 2,216 calls, the worker circle. Overall, there were about 2,800 calls, something like that, made to Georgia. And I want to say really quickly, because I know that she's on the call, I saw her chatting and we were talking. Lily Troy in Hawaii made 913 calls in 10 days. 10 days. Lily made almost 600 calls in a weekend. The most incredible push and effort I have seen in a phone banker in such a long time. I just want to say, Lily, we are so grateful to have you on our team and working with us, and just everything that you do. And Lily's in the chat saying, I'm so excited for the next phone bank. And you should be as well. And how can you be as wonderful as a phone banker as Lily, as confident? It's about the confidence to be able to do the calls and do them one after another after another. To build your confidence, you can go to the next slide. We are going to be doing a few different actions to make sure that you are ready to do phone banking. First of which is this 1 week from tonight, Thursday, May 28th. We are going to be hosting a phone banking training night. Now, we do have a training at the top of every phone banking session where we do have a brief 30 minutes or so phone banking training, but sometimes that's a little rushed. It's kind of overwhelming to do the training and then jump right into calls. So we said, why don't we do a whole phone bank training night where we do some role playing, some practice, everything that makes you confident to, yes, this is virtual phone banking, everything to make you confident to make those calls and make those calls confidently. So we're going to have that on Thursday night, 1 week from tonight. And then the very next day, we're going to be starting making those calls to Georgia I don't have the link up for that yet, and I will send it to everyone after this call. But in the follow-up email, we'll send the link to register for that phone banking, or you could also just come to the phone bank training night and you'll get it there as well. But we're gonna start making those calls to Georgia residents in that redistricting fight. Yes, but it is a mistake. It is the 28th. I thought I changed it. It is the 28th. Yes, it is not. It was originally Wednesday. It has changed to the 28th. And I can drop the link in the chat again. Here you go, everyone. Here is the how to phone bank training. And this is, we're gonna have some, it's just so you can ask as many questions as possible and make sure that you know how to phone bank, because I know how intimidating phone banking is. I know how it's overwhelming sometimes to be given all the information and then told to go do it right away. And if you are a seasoned phone banking veteran like Lily, if you would like to come and share your expertise on this night, we are more than welcome. You're more than welcome to join us. So next Thursday, 1 week from tonight, phone banking training on Zoom. And then the next day, we're going to start with Georgia phone banking. And then after Georgia, we're going to start phone banking to Virginia ahead of the primaries. And here is the Virginia link if you would like to get registered for that, to make sure that you are ready to phone bank. Yes, we do get to leave voicemails. that is a big bulk of what you're doing is leaving voicemails. Um, yeah, I I appreciate your humbleness, Lily. I truly do, and I think that Lily is exemplifying truly what it means that anyone can do this. It is all about your confidence. It is all about the way that you approach it and just the time that it takes. Our software is really simple to use. It's really it's easy to get set up. It's really easy. But um yeah. Uh, I dropped the link for the Virginia phone banking, and we are going to have two different times offered every week for phone banking, Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern and Fridays at noon Eastern. So if you're unable to make it to a nighttime phone bank, we do have it during the day. And once you're trained, you are more than welcome to phone bank at any hour of the day that the phone bank is open. But if you're like, uh, I don't think I need training. I think I can teach myself. If you think that, which I more than welcome that mindset, we have a wonderful DIY phone baking document um, that is updated with the links to the ongoing campaigns uh, every time there's a new campaign up. It has a video tutorial and a slideshow tutorial so that if you're ready to get started phone baking right now, well, there's no campaigns right now, but when there is a campaign live, when you're ready to get started phone baking, you can go right ahead and start phone baking. Also, if you say, I forgot how I should do this, all the answers are there as well. So we are super excited to have you come and phone bank with us. Uh, I am the one who teaches phone banking every single time. So if you enjoy getting to chat with me or chatting to voters about voting, it is the most satisfying feeling in the world getting to tell someone voter information. Um, it makes the entire night better. So yes, here is the self-train link. Again, it is a Google Doc. Uh, we are, I'm more than happy also. My email is in there. If you want to send me an email, I can put it in the chat as well. If you have any questions about phone banking, if you want to get more involved with phone banking, if you want to learn how you can teach your friends how to phone bank, reach out to me. I'd love to chat. I'd love to get you more involved in phone banking.
So I want to go back to the top of the program where Andrea was talking about the Calais decision and why this particular phone banking to Black voters is so important. It is critically important because not only do we want to mobilize the maximum number of Black voters to be able to surmount the by design barriers that have been placed in their way, but we have an opportunity in this to demonstrate enough voting power from those voters who are already registered, but just need information. Because remember, some people may have been purged from the rolls. Some people may not know where their polling place is. Some people may not be sure when does early voting start, right? That's all the kind of nonpartisan information we provide to people. We remind people, we help people find it. And they are so happy when you call them to talk with you. It's some of the most beautiful experiences you'll have because often they're not getting any other calls. At the end of the day, the way we defeat what the Supreme Court has just done is by empowering millions of voters to overcome the odds. And there are odds there. But you know what? Those districts can be overcome. we have to mobilize. And that's why the phone banking and the postcarding and other forms of advocacy, such as door knocking that we'll be doing later this year, are so incredibly important. I'm excited to say that the postcards are going to drop. When is it? June 5th, I think, is the first availability for postcarding. And I know so many of you out here have postcarded. For those who haven't, we try to make it easy for you. At the Workers Circle, we do a one-stop shop. We'll mail you all the postcards already pre-printed, your address labels, your everything that you need, and instructions, and we'll mail it out to you. So we'll be putting that information out soon so that you can register to postcard. And then if you prefer, you can also go, because Andrea and the Center for Common Ground have it all set up with regional postcard coordinators. And those are fabulous folks who will help you in your own community gather people together and postcard. So either way you do it, I hope you plan to postcard and make it fun. In the Workers Circle, we have a model called democracy circles where people gather together in small groups to take action. Many of our democracy circles gather and they postcard together. You can postcard, in the neighborhood coffee shop or in your church basement or, any in the park. We've had, picnic postcards. And so we encourage you to really get ready to postcard because that's yet another way that we can fight back. And Andrew, I'm going to kick it back to you.
I, I
Next
was, I
slide.
was, I was enjoying the postcard thing. I was going, wow, yeah, that is really, really good. All right, now, when we do our phone banks, our next phone bank will be for the Georgia runoff in Congressional District 12. And we'll be calling Richmond County and we will be calling Savannah. Next slide. Next slide. All right. Yes. Okay. The next slide, whenever we see it, there we go. There we go. One of the things that we are planning will be a visit to Capitol Hill on the Voter Empowerment Act. Now, right now, we are liking the Voter Empowerment Act because it doesn't have any co-sponsors. So there is a very important role for everybody to play. Now, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. I'll be there. Noel will probably be there. We will have a team of people, probably from Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, and we will have a letter for every individual member that we are going to go and see. We're going to have a list. We're going to have a whip list. And the letters will be customized to who is in that office. So the initial bill co-sponsors, there's only 3 of them. They will get a thank you letter. Thank you so much for reintroducing this very important piece of legislation. Then we also have a letter for the previous bill co-sponsors. There are 24 of them that are still in Congress. And then we're going to have another letter for Democrats that are in states that have redistricted. And then there will be another letter for the 204 Democrats who are none of the above. They're not in the state that redistricted. They were not previously a co-sponsor. So they're going to get a letter. And yes, we are going to go and visit some Republicans, and they are going to get a letter. And we are going to remind them that it is a Republican concept to support states' rights, and also it is a Republican concept to support an individual's right to vote. And this notion, well, it was always limited that when everybody participates, it ends up being better for everyone. So we asked AI, give us the Republican talking points, and it came up with some very interesting things that I hadn't thought about in a long time. So while we are on the Hill, some of you may want to take a letter to your local congressional office, and at the same time, there will be a digital letter that will be circulating, and you will be able to click on a link, put in your name and address. It will find your U.S. House rep, it will find your two senators, and they will get whatever letter is appropriate for them. So that's how I used to do it when I would go on Capitol Hill. And our goal is by the end of whatever that day is, we want to have 50 co-sponsors on this bill. Right now, there are 0 co-sponsors in the Senate. Well, all right, we don't have the Senate, but there's at least 47 Democrats sitting over there. So come on, people, this is something for voters. Either you support voting rights or you don't. So as you can see, we are coming up with a lot of important activities that you can do. Some you can do literally right from home. Others, you get to have an opportunity to go to DC or go to your local congressional office. But again, this is all about effective advocacy. And that is a skill that is built from using it. And actually, that's pretty much true of any skill. You do it, and then each time you do it, you get more confident and you get better and better and better at it. So, thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. As you can tell, I'm just sitting here and I'm excited. I had the best time. I always do. And everyone who's signed up, you will get a link to the recording. You will also get the presentation. Yes, I will correct the spelling of individual. I will fix my typos. And see you next month, or hear you and see you on the phone bank. So whenever your first phone bank is, I will probably join you. So thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. We're so glad you chose to spend tonight with us. Looking forward to seeing you, and know that you'll get a follow-up email with the slides, with all the information. And for those of you who are thinking, hey, coming to DC and wandering around the Capitol with Andrea and Noelle sounds kind of fun. I think I'd like to do that. There'll be a sign-up form in that follow-up email saying, I'm interested, I'm ready to come to DC, and we'll have a good old time as we go office to office to increase understanding and commitment to the Voter Empowerment Act. We'll see you next month, everybody. Bring a friend if you want. Everybody's always welcome at Effective Advocate. Good night.
Night. Take care. Bye bye.